much, Denise. I'm going to ask Nick Shinoy and all the folks involved in this to come on up. And we have 6 volunteers that we're going to recognize as well. So why don't we have everyone come on up? Let me start with this. This is a City Council resolution recognizing May 18th as Asian American and Pacific Islanders Heritage Month in Philadelphia to celebrate and commemorate the proud heritage of Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders and their important contributions to enhancing the city's culture, economy, and the founding ideals of independence and democracy. Hey, that deserves a warm round of applause, right? Come on. Now, let me say that this Asian American Festival and Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month is a long time in coming and not really given the credit it's due. So I'm going to start with this little history lesson. 1790, the National Origins Act meant that if you were born in the United States, but you weren't white, you couldn't be a U.S. citizen. And if you couldn't be a U.S. citizen, you couldn't vote, and therefore, you couldn't express your opinion. The Chinese Exclusion Act of 1882 meant that if you were Chinese, you couldn't come to the United States, and if you were in the United States and a U.S. citizen and you left the United States, you probably couldn't get back in. And then we had the National Origins Act of 1924 because the Japanese started doing what the Chinese were doing, and so that excluded all Asians from coming in the United States. Why am I bringing all of this up? Because it's important to know your history. Between 1890 and 1820, for 30 years, there was a national movement in America to eliminate Chinese restaurants from this country. Isn't that weird, getting rid of Chinese restaurants? It is weird, right? She says, that's so weird. Beer and noodles have been the downfall of many American girls. That was a quote from the AFL. During this time, where throughout the United States there were laws that Chinese restaurants, Japanese restaurants, Filipino restaurants could not stay open as long as other restaurants. Plus, in Pittsburgh in 1910, they passed a law that women could not eat in Chinese restaurants and women could not work in Chinese restaurants. Isn't that funny? Well, underneath that is an entire thing about discrimination and about scapegoating and about blame and about competition. And so we have ended up now with a much better situation, and we are celebrating the Asian American contribution and heritage right here in Philadelphia. And it wouldn't happen without the work of so many people in bringing understanding to our communities of how we are all working together for the same ideals and values. And so let me recognize Nick Shinoy and thank him and his board with this recognition from the Council of the City of Philadelphia. All right, thank you. I see Tiffany Chen from Governor Wolf's office. All right. Now, that flows right into the next thing. When I got elected in 2011, we looked at how many Asian Americans were registered to vote. There are a lot of Asian Americans, but about 110,000 in this city, according to the census. 55,000 are U.S. citizens. And guess how many of them registered to vote and said Asian? 6,000! She knew the answer. Only 6,000. Chinese, Korean, Vietnamese, Indian, Pakistani, Filipino, Indonesian, you name it. The total out of about 1 million voters was just 6,000. And so today, it's doubled to 12,000, but thanks to volunteers who for about 3 weeks go out into the communities and neighborhoods, knock on doors, register people in their own language, and they have to do this. Let them know that they can vote. Surprisingly, not everybody knows they can vote. Secondly, that registering, just registering to vote, catches the attention of government, school district, and others to provide the level of service that they are paying taxes for and that they deserve. English as a second language in schools, appreciation of music and culture. So that has doubled, and we hope to do better. And so it's my pleasure to recognize volunteers from PCDC, Philadelphia Chinatown Development Corporation, and many organizations, by the way, are doing their own voter registration, and from Drexel University, as well as the ones, they're all doing this under our voter registration drive, right? So, let me say, I think everybody has your citations. If you could just raise your hand. Anna Controla, correct me if I'm wrong, Bonnie Zhang, Joey Zhao, Danny Lee, Sovicia Hou, Jinlong Zhang, Meijia Liu, I'm looking for correction, Meijia Liu, Ruting Zhong, Chahan Chao, and Ding Sun. Thank you so much. What they do, before we get the group photo, they get on the bus, they get on the train, they travel to a place they've never been, like the far northeast, West Philly, Mount Airy, South Philly. They walk around the neighborhoods, they go up to strangers' houses, they knock on the doors, sometimes get the door slammed in their face, and anyway, they find people and they register them. Many of our volunteers, year after year, they're not even U.S. citizens, but they're enjoying the process of going out, registering voters, and I think it's an invaluable experience. Many of them will turn to China, where they can't vote. So this is a great experience for them. We'll get a group picture. Again, let's give them a more round of applause.
Peace American Organization, Philadelphia. Philadelphia.